Indonesia that please allow me for this our of the since he is still on the scale. Unfortunately, our constant costs cannot be expensive. Very important to sell. I would like to express my warmest welcome in joining the very first conference one approach in platform. It is an excellent opportunity for us to gather in a special event to share the latest update on what we have proposed in platform. This event will cover a wide range of topics and allow us the situation, prevention, and management of vector-borne diseases in public health. The first Indonesia Virus Detection Center is the follow-up program of the 12 joint working on higher education, research, innovation, and entrepreneurship that has been held in class 2. Last but not least, I would like to give my highest appreciation to Dr. David for always supporting our faculty and working closely with us during all this time. Thank you very much for all the speakers, for the extraordinary example. Finally, I hope that this event will be an opening for a bright journey and that everyone will. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
This especially and and also and very critical is also I need to see and I don't know um, that's all on we are also not saying for our purpose connect and I believe students connect ministry and cost. So, also each company represents as well as the comment on these events remind us that is not exactly the same. Previously this was the next part. And I don't want to insist on the importance of process at the international level. And context. This means that there is a organized global from the rate of this. Indonesia organized first change some 20 weeks of time. Then for those settings, I want to remind that these types of talks of letters as against comes the application of trust, reinforcement, and remember. But it should be along those lines. First, I can see that and it's one message. Share the research seven cited verses. All my wishes for
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, selamat pagi, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Yang saya hormati, the Minister of Health of the Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Profesor Dr. Dante Saxono Herbuono, SPPD, KMD, PhD, the Honorable Attaché for Scientific and Technological Cooperation, the Embassy of France in Indonesia, Dr. Thierry Goubier, the Dean of Faculty of Medicine, Universitas Indonesia, represented today by Dr. Anis Karuniawati, SPMKK, PhD, Liaison Officer of CIRAT and University of Montpellier, Professor Roger Frutos, Dr. Eric Davde, PhD from CNRS, Université de Normandie, Chairpersons of the Indonesian Technical Advisory Group of Immunization, ITAGI, Professor Dr. Sri Rezeki Hadinegoro, distinguished keynote speakers, respected guests, experts, participants, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. On behalf of Universitas Indonesia, it is truly my honor to welcome you all to the first Indonesia-France International Scientific Meeting held by Continuing Medical Education from multidisciplinary fields to discuss research based on the One Health approach in vector-borne diseases, which is organized and proudly presented by Universitas Indonesia Faculty of Medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, as a concrete act from previously joint working group between Indonesia and France, I think it was last June, and also an implementation of building global health architecture One Health approach in communicable and non-communicable diseases is a very important movement to improve health resilience in Indonesia. And also, Universitas Indonesia is very happy to take part in this event, since enhancing both national and international academic and research collaboration has been one of our top priorities. We strongly believe that both academic and research collaboration with France will significantly enhance the quality and quantity of academic and research outputs among its academicians and researchers, and will enable them to be exposed to the current global trends, especially in vector-borne diseases. And within this collaboration with French government, research colleagues, and also our national collaborators from UGM and UNER. So I wish you all a wonderful and fruitful discussion today. Thank you very much for all your attention and presence. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Nurtami, for the welcoming speech. Before we begin the first session, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Dante Saksono Harbuono, SPPD KMD, PhD, as Deputy Minister of Health of the Republic of Indonesia through Zoom. Dr. Thierry Goubier, who is here today, Professor Roger Fruto, Dr. Anis Karuniawati, Profesor Pramita Gayatri, SPAK, and Dr. Gigi Nurtami by Zoom, and also Professor Menaldi Rasmin to come forward to officially open the first Indonesia-France International Scientific Meeting 2022.
Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Yang saya hormati Rektor Universitas Indonesia, Dekan Fakultas Kedokteran Universitas Indonesia, para guru besar, akademisi Universitas Indonesia, sekaligus hadirin yang saya banggakan. Terima kasih saya sampaikan kepada Rektor Universitas Indonesia, Dekan FKUI, serta segenap guru besar akademisi yang telah memberikan kesempatan kepada saya untuk menyampaikan sambutan pada The First Indonesian French Scientific Meeting IFISIM pada hari ini. Apresiasi saya sampaikan kepada panitia atas pemilihan tema One Health Approach in Vector-Borne Disease. Saya menilai tema ini sangat tepat dengan kondisi Indonesia saat ini, di mana penyakit tular vektor di Indonesia seperti demam berdarah, malaria, filariasis, chikungunya, Japanese encephalitis menjadi beban masyarakat. Tidak hanya menimbulkan kesakitan dan kematian, tetapi juga menimbulkan kecacatan dan kerugian ekonomi masyarakat yang besar. Saudara-saudara sekalian, selama 30 tahun terakhir telah ditemukan 30 penyakit infeksi berulang, khususnya di Asia sebagai daerah hotspot. Sebanyak 75% penyakit infeksi berulang tersebut berasal dari hewan. One Health adalah satu upaya kolaborasi lintas sektor yang dilakukan untuk mencapai kesehatan optimal pada manusia, hewan, dan lingkungan. Dalam konsep One Health, kesehatan manusia dipengaruhi oleh kesehatan hewan dan keberlangsungan ekosistem. Vector-borne disease atau penyakit tular vektor telah ditemukan di seluruh kabupaten kota di Indonesia dan menyebabkan lebih dari 70% kejadian luar biasa atau outbreaks. Sedangkan di dunia, penyakit yang ditularkan oleh vektor merupakan 17% lebih dari semua penyakit menular yang ditemukan dan menyebabkan lebih dari 700.000 kematian setiap tahunnya. Upaya pengendalian vektor merupakan upaya preventif yang sangat strategis, sebab jika vektor yang dapat dikendalikan, maka penularan berbagai penyakit dapat dicegah pula. Salah satu dari 6 pilar transformasi sistem kesehatan adalah transformasi layanan primer yang dilakukan dengan memperkuat upaya pencegahan preventif, termasuk memperkuat upaya pengendalian vektor. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, dalam kaitannya dengan pendekatan One Health, pengendalian vektor yang memberikan hasil optimal apabila dikerjakan secara terpadu, dikenal pula istilah pengendalian vektor terpadu. atau IVM, Integrated Vector Management. Pengendalian vektor adalah upaya yang kompleks, karena itu keberhasilannya perlu memanfaatkan teknologi yang tepat guna, aman, efektif, dan efisien, serta melibatkan seluruh multisektor masyarakat, termasuk jajaran kementerian, lembaga, kalangan swasta, pelaku usaha, organisasi profesi, organisasi kemasyarakatan, mitra internasional, kelompok masyarakat, dan individu. Pengendalian vektor harus dilakukan di seluruh wilayah Indonesia di berbagai lokasi seperti lingkungan tempat tinggal atau pemukiman, tempat usaha atau tempat kerja, tempat rekreasi, fasilitas umum, dan fasilitas industri. Demikian pula dalam mode transportasi seperti kapal, pesawat terbang, kereta api, dan bus. Saudara-saudara sekalian, saya tutup sambutan ini dengan ucapan selamat atas terselenggaranya The First Indonesian Friends Scientific Meeting IVSIM dengan tema One Health Approach in Vector-Borne Disease. Semoga kegiatan ini dapat berkontribusi dalam peningkatan derajat kesehatan masyarakat yang setingginya dan dapat mewujudkan kualitas hidup rakyat Indonesia sebaik-baiknya. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Santi Santi Om.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Professor Dante Saxono Harbuono, for your opening speech. So now to officially open this meeting, I would like to invite Professor Dante to kindly stay in the Zoom session, and Professor Dr. Tiari Budai, Professor Roger Frutos, Dr. Anis Karuniawati, Professor Pramita Gayatri, Dr. Gigi Nurtami through Zoom, and Professor Menaldi Rasmi to kindly come forward to strike the gong to open officially this meeting. And also Professor Alan Subandrio. Thank you, distinguished guests. Merci à tous pour une merveilleuse cérémonie d'ouverture. You may return to your seats. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for the wonderful opening ceremony. We will now start today's session by introducing the moderator of the first plenary session, Professor Dr. Amin Subandrio Kusumo, SPMK Consultant PhD. Professor Dr. Amin Subandrio completed his medical degree from Universitas Indonesia in 1977 and holds a PhD in immunogenetics from Osaka and Kobe University. Professor Amin Subandrio has worked as a consultant in clinical microbiology in Universitas Indonesia for over 30 years. He is currently an esteemed researcher and a professor at the Department of Clinical Microbiology at this university. Professor Amin Subandrio has been active in research in the field of vector-borne diseases such as avian influenza and Zika virus. Without further ado, to Professor Amin Subandrio, the time is yours.
Tes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to all of you. Bonjour, Excellency, and all the participants. It is indeed a great honor for me to chair the first session this morning. According to the original plan,
Ini bisa menggunakan ini, Bro. Ini untuk Aniesnya, laboratori network.
oke,
Kemudian Roger dan Sri Rezeki masih sama.
masih sama ya. Alright. Ini matiin ya.
Jadi menggunakan ini.
Sudah ini Dr. Anies.
Laboratori network di Indonesia.
Oke, ya, kasih. Bisa. Tadi udah, tapi katanya nggak kurang keras. Udah, tadi udah saya pencet.
Katanya kurang keras.
Kurang keras.
Jadi menggunakan itu.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's a technical problem. According to the original plan, we should have 4 speakers, but we have just received information that the Ministry of Health, represented by the Vice Minister, Dr. Dante, he is just giving opening remarks, and there will be no presentation from him. So we will have only 3 speakers for this first session. We will have Dr. Anies Karyawati as the first speaker, who will talk about national network of laboratory or something like that. Yeah. And then followed by Professor Futov from CIRAP. And then the third speaker will be Professor Dr. Sri Rezeki Hadanegoro, Chairman of ITAGI, Ministry of Health. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Anies Karyawati. Oh yeah, before start, each speaker will have 30 minutes for the presentation. Please welcome Dr. Anies Karyawati.
Thank you, Prof. Amin. Can I operate myself? Okay, my topic in this morning is laboratory network in Indonesia. Please, next slide, please. Yeah. So this is the background that Indonesia is a multi-complex country. We have more than 50,000 islands, and also with different dialects. There are also 38 provinces with more than 270 million population. And migration of people and animals is always increasing every year locally and globally. And this, of course, the risk of spreading of diseases such as TB, malaria, and avian influenza, anthrax, rabies, and also other infectious diseases. We have already many biosafety level 2 laboratory, and try to build also more BSL 3, including in universities, both in human and animal laboratories. And of course, it needs safe and secure lab practice and human resources. And also, of course, to maintain the quality of the laboratory result is other problem, because quality is always expensive. Zoonotic emerging infectious diseases outbreak and AMR issues are increasing. So lack of capacity to identify and to detect the pathogens, limited human resources, collaboration, and networking. So I think the collaborations among countries and will be very needed to strengthen, to increase the capacity of our laboratory. Next slide, please. So this is from the current publication from Lancet that show us the one is about the life expectancy in Indonesia, but I show you here its standardized years of life loss rates for Indonesia and all provinces for leading causes in 2019. And slide please. I emphasize again. Yeah, so there are 4 infectious diseases that are very important
across the high mortality. They are the tuberculosis, diarrhea,
low respiratory tract infection, and also dengue. And the next slide. And from the Act of the Agriculture Ministry of Agriculture in the last 2019, there are 15 zoonosis priorities in Indonesia, which is showed in this slide. And slide. All of these, of course, need laboratory to diagnose the diseases. So that's why in the next slide, I will show you how the network of the laboratory network currently present in Indonesia. Next, please. The first part is about the government laboratories. Next. Yeah, so under the Ministry of Health, actually there are 2 kind of laboratories. First is what we call BBLK. This is in Indonesian, but actually it is the laboratory health centers. There are 4 national referral, which is the green one. It is located in Palembang, in Jakarta, in Surabaya, and also in Hasanuddin. The one in Bali, the green one, this is actually the local laboratory center. So other than these 4 BBLK, there are actually also one laboratory health center in each province. Thank you. Yeah. In each province, yeah, which we call the BLK only. So not BBLK, because the first B is actually the big one, the biggest. So there are 4 BBLK, and each province has a BLK or Labkesda. Labkesda is the local health laboratory, and with very different capacity. Most of them, maybe they can do the microbiology and parasitology examination, but only for microscopic, for example, or very simple culture and antimicrobial susceptibility test. And then there is also here in Jakarta, it's also Litbangkes, but it is now not exist anymore because it merged to the BRIN, which is the research. Prof. Amin, what is the English name of BRIN? I don't know. So it is a new unit. I think you know about this. And also the other one is for animal. There is also Balitvet. It is veterinary research laboratory, which is located in West Java in Bogor, which is also merged to BRIN. doesn't work. Can you please help me? Where should... Okay, this is the Disease Control and Environmental Techniques Lab. This is also under Ministry of Health. The previous one, BBLK, is more focused on the examination of patients. But in this laboratory, this is more in surveillance and also to investigate if there is, for example, an outbreak. Yeah, so they more work also in the community and the environment. So there are 10 BBTK-LPP distributed in Indonesia. Next slide, please. And this is the laboratory under the National Agency of Drug and Food Control. They have the duty to control the drugs and also food. And they do also regular surveillance, but very simple surveillance, like, for example, to detect the E. coli and other enteric pathogens from foods. And there is some reports, but I think there is no big data for this. The next slide, please. Yeah, and this is the animal health laboratories. So there are, as I told you before, that this balit fat is already merged to brin. And we have now BMPS PH also in Bogor, which is the center of our national referral lab for antimicrobial resistance. And each laboratory has been appointed as a central of reference, center of excellence for certain infectious disease. For example, here in West Sumatra is reference lab for rabies. And then also there is a for Japanese encephalitis somewhere here in the Denpasar. Yeah, so each lab has their own focus in diagnose or in detect the pathogens. Slide, please. Yeah, this is the laboratories for influenza-like illness. So this is actually now is non-active. So during COVID and after COVID, because usually it is coordinated by the our NIHRD, but due to merge to the BRIN, then there is no activities anymore. But I think it's good to know that each laboratory next, which is appointed as the regional laboratories, there are 6, yeah, including the microbiology laboratory in our faculty here in Universitas Indonesia. So this laboratory, of course, they have all the instrument tools to detect the influenza-like illness. And next, before COVID, we do the surveillance of influenza-like illness. The sentinel site is all the red dot. This is all our puskesmas or primary health center. Healthcare center, yeah. So they usually every month send the specimen, the swab of nasopharynx to a laboratory. So this is means that this area send the specimen to certain laboratory, and then usually the laboratory will report it to the NIHRD. So there are H3, H5, and H1, I think, the influenza virus. Next. Lab for AMR surveillance. Next. Yeah. So since 2019, Indonesia has been enrolled to the GLAS global laboratory antimicrobial and antimicrobial resistant surveillance system, which is coordinated by the WHO. And until this year, the number of the Sentinel labs is 20, consists of these hospitals, which located in Sumatra, Jawa, Kalimantan, and only one from the Sulawesi. And still until now, there is no lab from east part of Indonesia, from Jayapura, Maluku, and Nusa Tenggara. So they have already report the result of the main pathogens, which is asked by the WHO. Next. The last 2 years, the Fleming Fund country grant for Indonesia has strengthened the laboratory for antimicrobial resistance. There are 34 labs which is supported by the Fleming Fund. And this consists of human health, animal health, and also fishery. So they are, this is the distribution of the laboratory. All of them got procurement of, there are instruments, new instrument, and also some of them also renovation, lab renovation. And we hope that in the future, so next year, the surveillance of AMR will be run much better than currently. Slide, please. Next is about the lab for tuberculosis. Please. Yeah, so it is still hard for us to develop the laboratory for tuberculosis because it needs qualified laboratory and also BSL-3. So, and we have only until now 21 laboratory only for culture. Yeah, the red one is the culture only. And then 12 laboratory for the drug susceptibility test for the first and the second line. So actually micro is also, so it should be blue. Yeah, because our laboratory here in the faculty has also the capacity to do the first and second line drug susceptibility test. And also there is a line probe assay which detect all the anti-tuberculosis, the resistance of anti-tuberculosis. I think the next one is better. Please, the next one. Next slide, please. Yeah. So these are the 7 laboratory to detect the line probe of assay to specifically for the second line. Yeah, this is also a laboratory, a microbiology laboratory of our faculty is also have the capacity to do the LPA line, second line. Okay, next. And this is the laboratory which has the expert system. We know that there are 1,812 of expert system already distributed to all over Indonesia. And actually this machine can also be used for other microbes. So we hope that it not only used to detect the tuberculosis, but also COVID, and then also other emerging infectious diseases and re-emerging like MRSA, and also the carbapenem resistant gram-negative bacteria. Next slide. Yeah. This is the last part of my presentation is about the One Health Laboratory Network, or OHLN, which is actually organized, I'm sorry, organized by Indohun, or Indonesia One Health University Network. Right now, Indohun is chaired by Professor Agus Wandono, but the office is in our university in Depok. So why slide please. We know that the laboratory in university usually has three main functions. First is for the education, teaching laboratories, also for community services for diagnostic and research using biological material. And slide. So there are challenges for the biosafety and also biosecurity. Please, the slide. Yeah. Next. Yeah, the problem is that there is no mandatory from the national policy that universities should implement the biosafety and biosecurity. So for us, it is very hard because we have to finance ourselves to implement biosafety and biosecurity. Slide, please. Yeah. And the laboratory also work with these three global threats: emerging infectious disease, zoonosis, and antimicrobial resistance. And what the activities of the university consist of this slide. The diagnostic, again, research for diagnostic technique development and research for development of vaccine, and the other one is the training, right? So Indohun actually, so the main organization has around 20 members in Indonesia, but among these 20, only I think 11. Yeah, 11 university has a big laboratory for microbiology and parasitology. And this is the distribution. Next, please. This is under university, not in the hospital. And during the project of development or establishment of this One Health Laboratory network, we try to give training and implementation of the virus management. And what this is what we have done already, that we do the advocacy to the top management of the university, and also to increase their quality, to improve their quality through the training about this WHO biosafety manual, and also the implementation as well. We try to give them the tools to evaluate their capacity. Slide, next slide, please. Yeah, so we use the FAO laboratory mapping tools variable, which is already modified because the original one is only for the animal laboratory. So we try to modify these tools to evaluate, to monitor and evaluate not only the animal lab but also the human lab. And this is the actually very easy to do, and that's why we train the laboratory to do themselves the evaluation. Yeah, so most of them, if we see the quality assurance is very low. Yeah, only one among 11 labs do the quality assurance well. Yeah, next please. Yeah, so this is the challenge that, as I said before, there is no mandatory national policy to implement the virus management, and absence of system in most university members to support the implementation of virus management, And also the commitment of university top management is still low. And also the infrastructure and facility, which is still under qualified, and human resource and network should develop more and more. I think this is my last slide. Please next. Yeah. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Anis, for your presentation. So I hope we could better understand about the laboratory network situation in Indonesia. So the next speaker, I would like to invite Professor Roger Frutos from the Sirat University of Montpellier. Professor Frutos will talk about the societal dimension of One Health and vector-borne disease. Professor Roger, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Before starting my presentation, I would like to express my gratitude to Universitas Indonesia and to the French Embassy, the IFI, the French Institute in Indonesia, for their support. Strong support, both of them, to help having this symposium organized. And a special thank and congratulations to my colleague, Professor Pramita, who did a wonderful job organizing all this. So I really wanted to start with this acknowledgement. So I'm going to talk this morning. I hope you can hear me well. I remove the mask so that you can hear well. I will try to speak clear and loud. Oh, very good. Thank you very much. Yeah, and this is the pointer. Okay, thank you very much. Oops. Wait, we need to go back. Go back to the first one. Ah, this computer. Okay, where is the computer? There? Okay, thank you. So I'm going to talk about a very special dimension when we are working with infectious diseases, the societal dimension, which is very often not considered and is actually a key dimension if we want to tackle infectious diseases. It's true for any kind of disease, and of course, it's true for vector-borne diseases as well. So first thing we have to realize and understand clearly, we are not the bosses here. We, as humans, we don't own the earth. We just rent it. Earth belongs to microbes. It belongs to viruses and bacteria. They are everywhere. Okay? And we live in an ocean of viruses and bacteria. They are present absolutely everywhere. And that is what One Health is all about, is understand what is actual place in this world. And truly, when we come to disease, the boss is here. Viruses, bacteria, these are the boss. So we are talking about One Health, therefore we are talking about infectious diseases. Okay, but what is an infectious disease? What is that? Well, we have also to realize there is a very important ecological dimension in an infectious disease. We always see it as a medical issue, but no, medical issues is the end of the process. Before is really, there is an ecological dimension because an infectious disease is caused by another living organism. Okay, so, and each living organism on this planet, including the humans, and we are very good at that, is impacting the environment. Each organism impacts its environment. Each organism will damage the environment. The problem is the environment of a parasite or a pathogen is another living organism. If we're talking about medicine, it's us. We are the environment of the pathogen, and they, while living, they do some damages. The damages is what we call symptoms, And the consequence of the life cycle of these organisms is what we call a disease. Okay, so we have to consider that the medical dimension is true, but there is also another kind of dimension, ecological dimension, which is the interaction between different living organisms. We have to tackle that issue. So we have another thing to consider if we want to integrate this human and societal dimension, is that all pathogens, whatever, they all use the host ecology as a way to be transmitted. Okay, they even very often they even manipulate the host so that they can be transmitted to another host. It's part of their evolution, it's part of their life cycle. And the best example is rabies, where the virus is manipulating the behavior of the infected host to be aggressive and bite another individual so that the virus can be transferred with the saliva. If there is no bite, there is no transmission of the virus. So the virus is manipulating the host. The virus is very active in the process. But when it comes to humans, we also have an ecology, but our ecology is what we call the human society, because we made our own ecology. And the human society, we created our own ecology. And we have ecological rules. But these ecological rules for the human population is what we call the societal rules, is the rules of the human society. Okay, so we have something to consider also, which is very important, is that pathogens adapt to the host, so they adapt to humans. Okay, we say that they are humanized. Okay, they evolve, they adapt, but at the same time they get humanized, they also, we say, get socialized, because they are depending on the societal rules for transmission. And that is very important issue, is that all, absolutely all, whether we're talking about emerging or non-emerging disease, doesn't matter. All infectious diseases propagate because of human activities and because of the societal organization. This is our system that allows them to propagate. And that is a very important issue. So we have also to really acknowledge that it is a never-ending story. The situation where there is no pathogen, no infectious disease is something that does not exist. It's very clear, it doesn't exist. And it's not a finite problem. What is very important is that very often we treat a disease or an infectious disease like we will treat an explosion or volcano eruption. Or, okay, it's a big problem, a lot of damage, but we fix it, it's done, it's over, it's finished. No, that's a completely wrong belief when it comes to infectious disease. It never ends. And simply, whatever the societal rules we implement, whatever the societal, society model, okay, we will always be confronted to infectious diseases, but not necessarily the same. If we do things one way, we will have problem with some infectious disease. We stop and we do it another way, but we still have problem with infectious diseases, but not the same. Okay, so it's very important. It's a never-ending story. We have to really acknowledge that. It's very important if we want to manage that. So then we come to One Health. Basically, what means One Health is to actually consider the true position of humans, the true dimension of the pathogens. They are the active components. The true understanding of their dynamic, how they move, how they distribute, how they are transmitted. And very important, the key role of the society and the human pressure we put on the environment in the emergence and propagation of infectious diseases. It is a disease, it is a medical problem, but we should not see it as only a medical problem. It has another dimension which is very important in the emergence of the disease per se. One aspect also contributing to a lot of misunderstanding is that, especially in this issue, we have a lot of problem of what we call anthropocentrism or homocentrism. Everything is centered on human. The parallel we can make is with the Copernican revolution, when Nicolas Copernicus changed the vision. Before him, the vision was what we could call a geo-centered vision. Basically, everything was revolving around the Earth, the planet, the Earth, and everything was going around. Why? Why? Because it is simply an observer bias. Is because we are in the position of the observer. What do we see every morning? We see the sun rising in the east, going up at noon, and sunset in the west. Okay. So this is very important. So the Copernican revolution was to realize that the planet Earth was not in the center of everything. We have exactly the same problem when it comes to, sorry. We consider that the human is the middle of everything. We are the center of everything. We are the best, we are the ultimate element in the evolution. We are in the center of, we are in the center of everything, and all because we are the center. The wrong view of the system. We are not in the center of everything. Just like in the Copernican revolution, human is not in the middle. Human is just a species among many others, okay, which is involved in the complete circulation of viruses, bacteria, pathogens, etc., participate to this big choreography of viruses, of microorganisms, pathogens. The microorganisms are in the middle. They are in the middle. Humans is just on the side, just like any other species, and we get viruses or we give viruses. We are involved in this big choreography. We have to understand our true position, and infectiology must do its Copernican revolution as well. Understand that we are not in the center, and that is very important. And really, we need to understand that the cause of the disease is biological. It's the pathogen. It's the virus, it's the bacterium, it's a parasite. Okay. But the cause of the emergence of the disease, this is societal. This is the way we organize our own things, our own life. So let's go back and ask again, what is an infectious disease? An infectious disease, and emerging or not, what are they? They are the consequences of human activity and global economy, because we move all the time everywhere around the world. The main driver for that is the growth of the human population, because more human on the planet, more contacts, more exchanges, more mobility, more transmission. And epidemics and pandemics are accidents. And it's an accident. And it's an accident that is caused by the human activities and human rules, okay? And these human activities are just increasing the probability of these accidents. So we should address the disease as such, not wait until the end, but be proactive and try to organize things before. And we need to organize properly our activities instead of waiting for the disease to happen. And what we need to do is to reduce the probability of occurrence. It's a probabilistic system, not more than that. It's pure mathematics. And so if I come to vector-borne diseases, because it is our topic, it's exactly the same thing. Simply, there are many issues that would be addressed during this symposium. So I took only one example because we don't have time to cover everything. So I took one example only, which is dengue and Aedes-borne diseases. Okay. But what I can say is true for many other diseases. Dengue is typically an anthropogenic disease. First point, first question to ask. The virus is Asian, it's from here, from Southeast Asia. The main vector is African. How come we have an African vector of mosquito, which is the main vector of an Asian virus? Already there is something wrong here. Okay, it doesn't fit. We have a secondary vector, which is Asian, Aedes albopictus, but Aedes aegypti, the main one, is African. This happened because of the human activity. It's the humans who put the virus in contact with the vector. Okay, these vectors are mosquitoes are anthropophilic. It means that they feed on human blood, but they also live in the human environment, and which is very important. And they have been propagated, this Aedes aegypti, since the 18th century through international trade with the trade of spices, wood, ivory, everything. They circulated around the world. Actually, initially, dengue was not called dengue. It was called the disease of rivers and ports, because that's where people were exchanging. And the time when the most efficient vector of dengue was put in contact with the virus, it's a specific population of Aegypti, happened after 1859 when the Suez Canal was opened. We put these very good vectoring mosquitoes in contact with the virus, human activity again. Today we do exactly the same, but we are a lot more efficient because we replace sailing boat, but big cargoes. And when we look at the distribution of dengue, well, dengue was distributed over the Pacific during World War II, during the war in the Pacific. Actually, dengue reached Japan, for instance, in 1942 with soldiers coming back to Japan. In South America, it's different. It's because all South American countries killed basically all the mosquitoes with DDT to get rid of the yellow fever. So the ecological niche was empty, and when they made some business with Southeast Asia, the boats brought mosquitoes from Southeast Asia, and they came with the virus they had, in other words, dengue. But you never eliminate the disease, so therefore, now they have all serotypes of dengue and yellow fever. They have all of them. Africa is the same thing. It's becoming very important in Africa because of dealing with Asia, and Europe the same. But Europe is too cold for Aegypti, but we have Aedes albopictus coming also from Southeast Asia, but through the Suez Canal. So we have this disease everywhere because of human activity. So very important, if we cannot tackle dengue, we cannot address dengue if we are not considering the human activities. This is absolutely essential. Okay, and with this disease, dengue, but other Aedes-borne disease, there's a complete change of paradigm. Because for us, a vector-borne disease is what? Is the disease brought from one human or animal to another one by a mosquito. Okay, but for this disease, it's no longer true. Because for this disease, the global economy has had as a consequence that the mosquitoes spread all around the world. They are present everywhere, everywhere. And we have a modern society which is characterized by a high mobility of people. We take a plane, we go immediately on the other side of the planet. So we are moving where we are still viremic. And what happens, especially for the Aedes-borne disease, is the paradigm might change. The humans have become the vectors of the virus, not the mosquitoes. Humans transport the vectors and contaminate the mosquitoes. Example? Oh. Doesn't work. Yes, it works. Okay. Example, what happened in 2014 It's not that long ago, 2014 in the Caribbean with the epidemic of chikungunya. What happened to have been traced is very clear. It's one man, one person who was in Yap Island in Micronesia in the Pacific. Okay. I believe this guy was tired of playing golf in Yap and decided to play golf in Saint Martin in the Caribbean. Took the plane, went to the Caribbean to Saint Martin, but this guy was infected with chikungunya virus. Okay, he brought the virus with him, and in the Caribbean, he was bitten by mosquitoes over there, which has been brought by boats, and this started a big epidemic in the Caribbean and South America, with many people infected and a lot of deaths as well. So we have to really understand that. There's another societal dimension if we address the distribution of dengue. This is, for instance, a work we did in Indonesia with my friend Tribaskoro Tunggul Satoto from UJM, from Gajah Mada. We sampled in many cities on different islands. You see Sumatra, Timor, Bali, Lombok, Papua, in different cities. And what we found out is that all neighborhoods are not equally affected. You have some clusters. Okay, and where you find the dengue is not necessarily in the poor neighborhood, actually not in the poor neighborhood. Mostly we have a socio-economic factor. It's mostly in the higher middle class that we find it. Also a cultural, for instance, in Lombok, the Balinese population was a lot more affected than the Muslim populations, because the way of life is different. They live in community and they allow, they with gardens, etc., and they allow the mosquitoes to survive during the dry season. And also occupational, for example, wet markers, where also we have water for the animals to drink, etc., that allows the mosquitoes to stay. So this is really important. And these features, similar features, were found in India. So Eric Daudet, who is here, is going to talk about that. He did a very fantastic work in India, and he's going to tell us about that. It's very important. The distribution of dengue is really related to the way the society, the cities are organized. It's very, very important. So our priority, the need is why, is to identify the neighborhoods which are the more at risk, the most at risk, to optimize the actions and the resources, not to dilute the money and actions to everybody. Focus on those who are really at risk. And that is important. And to do that, the society structure, the structure of the city, this is the key issue. We have to understand that. He doesn't want. Sorry. Okay, so another societal dimension, I'm going to finish on that, is the vector control. There is no treatment, no vaccines against dengue. So basically, our only solution is to control the vector. But even that, it's very difficult. It's extremely difficult. It's basically impossible for Aegypti and Albopictus. Chemicals, they are resistant, plus pollution environment. Many chemicals are banned, we cannot use. There is one thing that works very well, is Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis, BTI. It is the only one authorized in Europe for mosquitoes, larvicidal. But it works very well on Culex, for instance. On this Aedes, it's extremely difficult, basically impossible to use it because of the habitat. The breeding sites are in small containers you cannot treat. So it's just impossible. The breeding very small containers you cannot treat. Impossible. What is left are very single activities that works, but they are punctual. So the trap baits or RV trap, yes, it works, but punctual. Wolbachia, the reproductive incompatibility is not a vector control, it's a virus control approach. It's not a vector control per se. And the repellent and nets or the fogging, that's what we have on hand, but these are punctual actions. And they are not working completely just by themselves. They must be integrated because there is no single solution. OV trap should be implementing with elimination of natural breeding sites, So integration. Wolbachia, for instance, does not work on albopictus because there is already Wolbachia in it. So integration. And efficient fogging requires an accurate mapping and understanding of the city. Integration. So the solution is the integrated behavioral management at the community level, because the community is small. In Indonesia, the RT is very small. We can do it. Yeah, thank you. So what is this integrated behavioral management? There is no single universal approach. It does not exist. It doesn't work. Okay, so what we need to do is to combine all possible environmentally friendly and sustainable approaches to not to eliminate all the mosquitoes. We saw that in South America with yellow fever and dengue. It's not a good idea to try to eradicate. First, we cannot, and second, it's wrong idea because others will come. We need to manage the risk. Okay, and what is very important is not to eliminate the mosquitoes, is to reduce the probability. We come back to probability. Reduce the probability of infectious bite under the threshold, a minimal threshold. That's it. So we need to reduce that. It's just a matter of balance and modulation. But to do that, we have to consider that the risk is global. It's a global issue, dengue and this disease, but the answer is local. We cannot do it as a global issue. It's too big. We have to work it locally. And a city, a country is nothing more than the sum of the different communities. Okay, so we have to tackle it at the community level. In Indonesia, is clearly the RT. And actually, this has been implemented in Indonesia. The Ministry of Health implemented the 3M system, and associated with one person in charge of supervising that per house. And it works. It works very well. So the very good thing about it, that it works very well. The very bad things about it is that it works very well. Why? But the problem is that since it works very well, people stop doing it. So the problem we have with that is not that it doesn't work, it's the problem of sustainability. We need to convince people to keep doing it, even if it works. And that's the main issue, because the main issue is actually awareness. We need to work a lot on awareness. We need to have preparedness, but preparedness comes from awareness. Awareness at the level of the authorities to implement the relevant policy, surveillance, and monitoring. Tribowo and Bagarjito from Salatiga, from Green will present that. But we need also, extremely important, to raise people awareness to implement proper action at the community level. So again, we come back to the importance of the societal dimension and policy. To the last one. Oops, I'm sorry. I missed one. Yeah. One more. So it's really a strategic approach that we have to implement. How to prevent dengue outbreaks? It's an anthropogenic disease, so we have to tackle that dimension. Okay, the disease is caused by virus, but again, outbreaks are due to the society. What we need is to address the right kind of people. It is a disease, but it's not the physician who will bring the solution. It's other kinds of people. We need sociologists, architects, urbanists are very important, planners, modelers, policymakers, and what I call the middlemen. This group of people is very important. What is a middleman, in my opinion? They are essential to ensure the sustainability, because that's where we have the problem, sustainability. And the sustainable implementation will go if people are well aware and informed at the community level. So we need people with a real influence, who will be leaders, wise men, teachers, but in my personal opinion, the most important for that are the clerics. We really need to work with the religious authority to that. Whatever the religion, these clerics have a real spiritual and moral influence on people. People will follow what they say, will listen to what they say. And whatever the religion, these clerics can forward the message at least once a week. And that's, again, it's very important to raise the awareness. That's what we have to do. It's really a societal dimension. We'll need to tackle that dimension. And I would, oops. What back? Back one? Oh, no, okay, sorry. Okay, so I just want to say and quote Sun Tzu, so a very famous Chinese general who 2005 years ago wrote the book called The Art of War. I don't know if you know it, but he said something very important. He said the greatest victory is the one which requires no battle. It means we have to organize our societies through first. We need to organize our society and our activities in such a way that we prevent the virus or the mosquitoes from reaching infectious threshold. We have to avoid the battle. If we only prepare to fight the virus when the disease has emerged, we will lose all the time. We need to prepare for that before. And with this, I will end, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Roger Fruto, for your inspiring talk. Yes, please. Okay. Yes, so we could understand the role of community actually in the control of diseases, in particular zoonotic diseases. Next speaker, I would like to invite Professor Sri Rijeki, Chairman of ITAGI, Indonesian Technical Advisory Group for Immunization. Professor Sri will talk about beyond COVID-19, dengue situation in Indonesia. Professor Sri, you have 30 minutes. Well, yeah, I think CV of Professor Sri is actually quite long, so if I have to read all, probably it will take one semester for it. Professor Sri, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Prof. Amin, for the nice introduction. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. First of all, I want to say thank you to the organizing committee in inviting me in the very important meeting. And thank you especially to Professor Roger Frutos that already shared with us what is actually the essential of combat dengue. So I think it's very important that you integrate behavioral management. It's not easy, but we try for the long time period to combat this dengue, maybe more than 15 years. In this morning, I want to share with you what is actually our problem in the elimination of dengue. And the topic today is dengue beyond the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Indonesia is a tropical country with the hot climate and the very high humidity is the good places for mosquito breeding places. So we know that the dengue rapidly mosquito-borne viral disease and carried by the Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus. So if you see that this dengue virus have 4 serotypes, dengue 1 to dengue 4, and this regularly circulating in this area. And we can see that one of serotype can make the infectious of this dengue. Another important thing in dengue can cause the wide spectrum of disease, from the subclinical to severe one, even fatal, especially for the children. And we can know that some people can develop severe dengue.
Seperti mati lampu. Tapi ini kan harus begini kalau ini model telepon begini itu harus benar-benar
All the severe dengue is dengue with plasma leakage and also hemorrhage and organ impairment and also death. So severe dengue has a higher risk of death when not managed properly. For example, sometimes they misdiagnosis from the peripheral hospital and refer to us, and also maybe they come late in the late phase. So it's very important to how to community know the warning sign of the dengue infection. Yes, I want to sebelumnya ini ya. Yes, as we know that dengue is very familiar in Asian countries and Latin America because we live in the tropical country. You can see that the in this map, the red color for all Indonesian area, it means that Indonesia is involved in the very endemic country for dengue, because Asia is including about 50% of the global disease of dengue. And most dengue deaths and highest dengue mortality reported from the South Asia, including in Indonesia. Yes, slide please. I want to show you about the annual dengue report. Please see in the last year, 2020, we still have more than 100,000 cases annually. And also the incidence rate is still high, more than 38% per 100,000 population. This figure show to us that we have very high problem, the important problem. We will reduce the mortality first, because it's very important, as Ministry of Health already target in 2024, we have also should be reach the zero death of dengue. Yes, slide. The other important thing is sifting of the incidents in each group. We know before 2000, we have many children attack of dengue, but now we have more than half, I think. It's occurred also in the more than 15 years of age. You can see here that it still continue up to now, that the young adult is also involved in this dengue. And this is very important to know that awareness to the population is also should be raised, because they don't know that dengue also involved in adult group. Yes, slide. The other figure here is related between his dengue case and rainfall. We know that high incidence in dengue cases also related and followed by the rainfall. Yeah, slide. This is the very good picture from Bapak Tejo Sasmono. Thank you for this nice picture. This show that how the changes of serotypes in Indonesia regularly. You can see in the 5 decades, they change it always every 10 years. We have usually 4 serotype always there. You can see in the lower figure here that all provinces in Indonesia have 4 serotypes of dengue virus. Slide. The other study is also done by us in this faculty to know the dengue seroprevalence in children. The study done to more than 1,000 subjects, 1 to 18 years of age in 30 districts. And you can see here, the result is in 1 year of old, more than 25% already infected. And in the 5 years of age, more than 50%. And you can imagine that in 18 years of age, we have already more than 85% infected. So this is proof that Indonesia have a very high endemics for dengue virus. Yeah, slide please. Our dengue current situation now. WHO reported that the total number of cases seemingly decreased during the pandemic, but they said that the data is not complete yet because they're still busy with the COVID-19 report. So maybe we will know after at the end of this year. And in 2022, in 9 March, we have more than 182,000 cases. It's also deaths, there's more than 200 deaths, and majority reported from Brazil. But the death cases, unfortunately, this come from Indonesia. It's very sad to say that Indonesia still have death cases. That should be our goal in the maybe in 2024 as a target of the Ministry of Health to give the 0 death of dengue. Yes, slide please. Several countries affected also in 2021, 20, and 20. You can see here some countries, including Indonesia, still report about this dengue. And also in 2021, many countries already reported that they have still the dengue cases during the pandemic of COVID-19. Yes, slide. This is also our finding that the coronavirus outbreak can happen simultaneously with the dengue fever. You can see reported from Indonesia, Philippines, and also even in Singapore. So we have the double burden, double infection. And sometimes it's very confusing to the clinician because the symptom in the beginning of this disease is quite similar, but the management is quite different. So this is also our finding during the COVID-19 pandemic. Slide, please. The other important thing is also, is there any correlation between SARS-CoV-2 virus with the dengue virus? Because if we see here, the red line is represent from the dengue virus. If it's rise, it's a high incidence, and we can see the SARS-CoV-2 is decreased. And then vice versa, if the SARS-CoV-2 rise, we can see that the dengue virus is very low incidence. And this finding also supported by one report from Brazil. Slide, please. This the already published from Brazil. They said that previous dengue infection will decrease the mortality of coronavirus 19. So we can see that they compare the about 50% of the group have the previous dengue infection compared to not have the dengue infection previously, and they can see that the mortality is higher and the death rate also in 6 days after follow-up. Yeah, slide please. So what our guidance now? WHO say that we must have the what is roadmap to decline the mortality of dengue virus. So they give the guidance, say the critical action. The first one is develop prevention vaccine for all at-risk population. Yes, in Indonesia, we have already 2 kind of dengue vaccine that already proved by NRA or BPOM in Indonesia, but is still used only for private, not in the national program of immunization. The second critical action is further develop the evidence base on an effectiveness of vector control strategy. I think it supports what Professor Frutos already mentioned, that what we have now, the strategy of the integrated vector management should be followed up, should be evaluated, its work or not. What we can modify of in maybe we need another strategy in this integrated vector management, vector control management. And the last one is to collaborate with the environmental sector and engineers to reduce mosquito habitat. I think that the third one is not what you call implemented in Indonesia very well, because I have read in one of literature that in the capital city of Malaysia, Putrajaya, they built a very nice building there, but they forget that there is many mosquito breeding places. And now they sent to me, please awareness for Indonesia, that we plan to have the new capital city in Kalimantan for the awareness of the this reducing the not create the new one of the mosquito breeding places. Yeah, slide please. Just my last slide. We follow this target to reach the 0 death of dengue in 2030. It's already stated in the roadmap of the neglected tropical disease statement from the our Director General of WHO. Slide please. So in the conclusion, that the incidence of dengue has grown dramatically around the world in recent decades. A vast majority of cases are asymptomatic or mild and self-managed, but has potentially to be severe dengue. And most dengue deaths and the highest dengue mortality rates still reported from Southeast Asian countries. Currently, dengue affected several countries with reports and increases the number of cases in ASEAN and Latin American countries. WHO support countries in development of dengue prevention and control strategy to achieve 0 deaths in 2030. Thank you for your attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Sri, for your nice presentation. We understand the situation of dengue in Indonesia. Dear participant, from those 3 presentations, we could understand that the role of One Health approach is extremely important. Dr. Anis has shown us the situation of laboratory networks in Indonesia. And although we identified that we have so many laboratories already available in Indonesia, but as stressed by the Professor Roger, that the role of community, RT ya, rukun tetangga is important, and because actually we have to do the so-called integrated approach, not only controlling the parasite, the factor, but we have also to control the human. Yeah. And Prof. Sri has also stressed the situation in dengue. Professor Roger also mentioned that dengue is actually originated from Southeast Asia, yeah, if I guess you correctly. And data presented by Professor Sri also show that a number of cases and deaths in the world is contributed mostly from this region. So with that, I would like to thank all the speakers, Dr. Anis, Professor Roger, and Professor Sri. And I would like to invite all the audience to give big applause to the speakers. Yeah, because this is a keynote speech, so there is no Q&A. But if you are interested in exploring more, you could use the time during the break to approach the speakers to discuss further. Thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I invite MC to come forward to guide us. What is the next activity? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Amin Subandrio, for your moderation. Before we go on to the break, I would like to invite everyone present here for a photo session. So kindly please come forward for photographs. Thank you.
France International Scientific Meeting 2022. Our next agenda in this whole session is an industrial symposia supported by Takeda, which will discuss the topic Breakthrough Approach on Dengue Vaccination amid COVID-19 Pandemic. Without further ado, let me introduce the moderator of this session, Professor Dr. Hindra Irawansatari, Pediatric Specialist Consultant, Master of Tropical Pediatrism. Professor Hindra completed his general physician in Faculty of Medicine, Universitas Jaran, then continued to pursue his pediatrician of medicine, Universitas Indonesia. Professor Hindra then completed his Master of Tropical Pediatrism, School of Tropical Medicine in Liverpool University in United Kingdom, 1995. Currently, Professor Hindra is a chairman at KPI Kamkes RI, and then Chairman Indonesian Society of Infection Control, also standing committee of International Society of Tropical Pediatrics. Without further ado, please welcome Professor Hindra.
Thank you, Alia. Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the committee who invited me as a moderator in this industrial symposium sponsored by Takeda. I think the topic of symposium related with our topic of seminar, which is breakthrough approach on dengue vaccination amid COVID-19 pandemic. As we know, as mentioned by the previous speaker, honored speaker, Professor Roger and Professor Sri, that vaccination is one of the strategic approach to fight dengue. Not to fight, maybe Prof. Roger mentioned, to cope with dengue infection. And then now we have one speaker here, distinguished speaker. Can the host or co-host give us the CV of the speaker? Dr. Bernie is a general physician, graduated from the Faculty of Medicine, Universitas Indonesia in 1996. And now she is already consultant in growth and development social pediatric, also in university. Got her master degree of public health in Nebraska Medical Center, United States, and PhD also from the Universitas Indonesia in last year. Now she is staff in growth and development of social pediatric in the Department of Child Health, Cipto Mangunkusumo Hospital. Also the member of International Association for Adolescent Health in Melbourne, and member of Indonesian National Committee of Adverse Event Following Immunization. Time is yours, Dr. Bernie Medice. Please take your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Hindra. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear participants, I'd like to share my presentation. So it is a pleasure for me.
Dr. Bernie, sorry, interrupt. Can you turn off your handphone? Maybe it causes echoing in this your sound.
Oh, okay. So is it still echoing?
I think it's better. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So thank you, Professor He. So today it is a pleasure for me to give one topic here, breakthrough approach on dengue vaccination amid the COVID-19 pandemic. So before that, there is no conflict of interest in my presentation, and this is time for my presentation today. So before we talk about the vaccine, but the first why immunization? Most of us know that Edward Jenner is considered to be the founder of vaccinology back in 1796. So it was time when he inoculated a 13-year-old boy with vaccinia virus, cowpox. And the boy eventually demonstrated immunity to smallpox. And a couple of years later, smallpox vaccine developed. It has given us a big change in infectious diseases. Before we go on, there are some definitions that you should probably have. The vaccine is the preparation that is used to stimulate the body's immune response, and the vaccination is act of introducing a vaccine, and immunization is the process.
Makasih.
By by which masih bergema.
Dokter, suaranya bergema.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So I hope it's okay. Masih bergema. Oke. Apakah ini masih bergema? Masih?
Masih.
Masih ya. Saya sendirian. Masih. Oh. Mungkin di sini berarti saya nggak usah.
Coba.
Oke. Ini lebih baik.
Ya, baik.
Oke, makasih. Berarti saya ada dua ini ya. Oke. Okay, so the vaccine, okay. Now the immunization is the process by which a person becomes protected against a disease through vaccination. So, okay, so vaccine actually can produce infection with less complication. If you see here, to get a person immune, so there are two ways, yeah. We can get from natural infections. So it means that the person should get the disease, but of course it has higher risk for health and economy, or we don't have to get sick. We just get vaccinations. So this is the low risk of adverse reaction, and then the outweigh the risk of complication by natural infections. So I always give this diagram to give us a glimpse about the vaccine program. So this is the area when the time when there was pre-vaccine, and when the vaccine introduced, the vaccine coverage is increased. But then the disease also decreased. But remember, when we give vaccination, there is also an adverse effect. So the adverse effect increased, and it made people lost the confidence to the immunization. So that's why the outbreak will happen here. So, but we want education of certain diseases that we can prevent from by giving the vaccinations. And then we should also remember that there is time to get the antibody, from the first or the primary vaccination. So we get about 14 days to get the antibody level, get the primary response. But then what happened to the antibody level? It will be a little bit decreasing, but before they get the bottom, we should get the second shot or second vaccination. So it will give the secondary response, which usually will be higher than the first or the primary response. So this is just another example. For primary vaccination could be more than one shot, could be 2 or 3 shots, but then we need also a booster to get a better or higher level of antibody. And the immune system can be broadly classified to the innate or non-specific, and also adaptive or specific, which both systems will work with each other in the interaction with each other. And the adaptive immune system usually will require T cells and also B cells. Now, that's in individual, the impact or effect of vaccination in individuals. But how about in immunity, in the herd immunity in the community? So this is a good example. This is a video. If you see here, the blue dot, it represents the unvaccinated people. The yellow block bar, so this one represent the vaccinated people. Okay. So, yang ini, oke.
Coba di mute.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah. I think this one better. Okay. Now, okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. So, this one, if you see here that 100% or 0% of vaccinated people, 100% of unvaccinated people. And then this one is 25% vaccinated. And then here 75%, and then 90% and 95. So there is one person here that is infected already. And then what happened if he is in the middle of those people? So this is what happened. So in more than 75% or more than 90% vaccinated people. So on the person only infect only very few people, yeah, compared to the other. Okay, now we talk about the burden of the disease. So I think the previous Professor Sri also mentioned about this. And I just want to show this one is systematic review and meta-analysis for studies about 174 outbreak studies. And then what we see here, the highest number of mono-infection outbreaks was caused by dengue 2, followed by 1, 3, and 4. This is 1990 until 2015. And then there is also co-infections, which is reported almost 50% of the outbreaks. And this is another map of dengue infections. If you see here, the most common countries that is related to the dengue infection is in tropical and subtropical countries. And then dengue causes the greatest human disease burden of any arbovirus, and then estimated about 10,000 deaths and more than 100 million symptomatic infections a year in more than 125 countries in the world. And when we talk about the COVID-19 and dengue, so there are many literatures during our pandemic period. I just took some or a couple of them, yeah, that mentioned that the early signs and symptoms of dengue and COVID-19 could be similar So it could be wrongly diagnosed in the beginning. And also the systemic infection is almost similar. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, we are also reminded that we could also facing not only one pandemic, but double pandemic or triple pandemic because of other kind of diseases, infectious diseases. So what have we done to prevent the dengue infections? Actually, we have been implemented, some traditional measures, also strategies, for dengue prevention and control. But most of these are compliance and community involvement dependent strategies. So it's really so many confounding factors that could influence the result. So effective and affordable dengue vaccines against the 4 strains would be represent a major advance for the control of this disease. So this example of dengue preventions and control that we have done so far. We have education that we have already distributed, and our government also try to educate more people to prevent from the dengue infections. Also monitoring for the vector and also fogging. So these are some program that we have done so far. Now we come to immunizations in Indonesia. This is the Ministry of Health immunization schedule. This is in 2017. If we see, this is the schedule for our routine immunizations and only for the basic immunizations. So if we see that our children will get hepatitis B, BCG, polio, OPV, and then we have pentavalent, and then also IPV, and then for the measles, since 2017 we add rubella. So measles and rubella starting in 2018 in the whole Indonesia. But then this is for the basic immunization. And then we also give the children at 18 months another pentavalent and also MR vaccine. And then when our children reach the elementary school, so they will get another MR and then also DT or TD. This is from our Ministry of Health immunization schedule. So where is the dengue vaccine then? It is not included in our Ministry of Health. But in Indonesian Pediatric Society immunization schedule, this is in 2020, that's the latest one. There is already included the dengue vaccine. But in this immunization schedule, still 9 until 16 years. Okay. Now we will talk about the dengue vaccines then. So there are several dengue vaccines that are still under development or already produced already. We know already about the CYD-TDV that is already implemented in some countries. But what we are going to talk more is about the TAK or TAK-003. This is a live attenuated vaccine, and they have already done the phase 3 clinical trials. So this is the map of where the countries that include in or participated in the TAK 003 or TAK 003 clinical trials, and it includes more than 20,000 children aged 4 until 16 years. So if we see here, so this one, the yellow, I'm sorry, the blue one is the group with a 3 months interval, and then group 2, the gray one, is on the 1 shot, and then it's kind of like yellow here. It has a 12 months interval, and then the green one is the placebo. If we see here that TAK 003 administered in 2 doses at 3 months interval can increase the seropositivity of dengue 3 and dengue 4. So now if we see the primary as secondary endpoints, if we see here after 12 months, the primary endpoint at 12 months, the overall vaccine efficacy reaches about 80% against the virologically confirmed dengue. And then what happened in secondary endpoint at 18 months, the vaccine efficacy, again, the VCD is about 73%, But what is interesting is the seropositive and seronegative is not really, or quite similar. And then the vaccine efficacy against hospitalized VCD is more than 90%, about 90%. With seropositive and seronegative, it's almost the same. And then against dengue hemorrhagic fever is about almost, about 85%. And then we can see the exploratory endpoints at 36 months that the vaccine efficacy against the VCD by serotypes, the highest one is reached by the dengue virus serotype 2, followed by 1, 4, and 3. So now we can see the efficacy against 54 months then. This is post the second dose. If we see here, this is the placebo, and then this is the TAK 003, and then the seronegative is the blue one, and then the seropositive is the red one. And then this is the percentage of the VCD incidence. If we see here, the vaccine efficacy, the overall is about 61%, but in the seronegative and seropositive is quite similar. So the TAK 003 provides protections against dengue infections in seropositive and seronegative individuals. So this is very important because it means that no screening needed prior vaccinations. And this is also, if we see against the hospitalized VCD up to 54 months post-second dose, almost similar with the previous diagram that I showed you. And then also the overall vaccine efficacy, almost 85%, 85. And then the seronegative and seropositive is not different. And so it also then give a proof that no screening needed prior to vaccination. And then this is the safety of the TAK 003, the safety profile, whether it is this one is local injection site reactions, and then the systemic or solicited systemic adverse events up to 14 days after vaccination. And we can see for children younger than 6 years, and then people more than 6 years old, that we can see that the placebo is the red one, and then the TAK 003 is the blue ones, that we can see that it's not really significantly different. And this one is the first serious adverse events. This is the first 18 months. So you can see here that the placebo and then TAK 003 The SAE is quite similar. In placebo is 3.5, and then in TAK-003 is 2.9%. And then the seronegative and seropositive is quite similar. You can see the differences, yeah. And then the most important one is the SAE is not related to the vaccine. And these are the most frequent SAE that you can see here, and no important safety risks and disease enhancement were identified up to 54 months after the second dose. So now, what are the highlights of the new vaccine of TAK-003? We know this is the tetravalent vaccine, which includes all the serotypes of the 4 serotypes. And then it can be given to dengue naive recipients. So that does not require evidence of previous dengue exposure for its use. So no screening needed. It is already we have evidence that it is safe with quite good efficacy, 80%. And then with 2 doses of vaccine, it is also immunogenic against the 4 dengue serotypes in adults and children. And then the interval between the first and the second dose is quite short. It's like only 3 months. So it is easier to complete the immunizations than with a shorter period. And it covers larger range of age. So it covers from 6 years to 45 years. And what are other important highlights? That the dengue vaccination cannot be the only prevention program. We should always remind the people, and we do together implement the existing program, yeah, for instance, the 3M+. And then we should also remember that the dengue vaccination still, it doesn't cover all age range. It's only 6 to 45 years old. So just like other vaccination, other immunizations, so it does not give 100 protections. Another important highlight that this vaccine has been approved by BPOM, and we hope that soon it will be added in Indonesian Pediatric Society immunization schedule. So I think this is the end of my presentation. So I just want to show you the beautiful Bali, and this is Jakarta, our capital city. Thank you, Professor Hinki. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam, Dr. Bernie, for your wonderful, clear, deeply and comprehensive presentation regarding one alternative but strategic and vital to manage the dengue. Your talk, including history of vaccination itself, beginning in the 18th century, and our national immunization program, and new platform of dengue vaccine, which already approved by the National Regulatory Authority to introduce in Indonesia. And of course, I think there will be a question from the audience regarding this vaccine, this strategic program to manage the dengue infection, who still established until today, yeah, even COVID, but dengue cases still occur until today. So I invite the audience to raise your hand, or I think there's one question here in the chat box. to Dr. Bernie from Dr. Restuti Saragih, in internist, infectious disease specialist consultant. What are the main challenges do you think we need to anticipate in the upcoming implementation of dengue vaccination in Indonesia, both in children and adults? Thank you, doctor, and congratulations for your excellent presentation. Regards from FK Universitas Sumatera Utara, Medan, Indonesia. Please, Dr. Benny, would you like to answer the question?
Thank you, Professor Hinky. Thank you, Dr. Restuti. Yes, so giving the implementation of the upcoming new dengue vaccine in Indonesia, probably there are several highlights that we need to aware of. The first, probably giving the understanding about the differences between the previous dengue vaccines that's already here before, and then now what is the difference with the new vaccine that we are going to implement hopefully next year, for instance. And this could be start from our colleagues, from health professionals, to give them the idea about the vaccination and the burden of the disease of the dengue in Indonesia. And then the second one, probably, because this vaccine is still only, I assume Professor Hiki probably would add that it will be included in our IPS immunization program, but probably not in our Ministry of Health immunization schedule yet. So we hope that more and more children and people can get this the access to get the vaccinations, but because it's not in our Ministry of Health program, so probably it could not reach what we call the coverage that we want. But at least we can give our children who can get the access to get the vaccinations. And then the third one, that it cannot give 100% protection. So we can have, we should remind the parents, that they have to implement the prevention and the control program that has been implemented by our government. So still do the 3M, 3M plus, and they cannot just rely on the vaccination itself. So those are probably some challenges in community, that we should aware of. Then, but here we have Professor Sriritiki, Professor Hinky, all the experts in dengue and also immunizations, that we hope that very soon that this upcoming new dengue vaccine could be implemented also in our community in Indonesia.
Thank you, Dr. Bernie. Thank you, Dr. Restuti. As mentioned by Dr. Bernie, maybe the challenge of us is to give information to people and our colleagues that dengue still occur in Indonesia until now. And then actually vaccine of dengue never stop. Actually, it's still available. And now there are one new platform available in Indonesia. So just continue the vaccination. And we have already learned how vaccination in COVID can reduce the morbidity and the mortality. I think it also will happen with dengue. But since our government should calculate the risk benefit analysis, economic analysis about this vaccine. Of course, in the meantime, maybe private sector can do the vaccination first for the people. But I hope maybe if the calculation is already established and more benefit the vaccination than the cure or management of dengue, I hope one day dengue we are including in our national immunization program. And as mentioned, not only from Dr. Bernie, Professor Sri, Prof. Roger that mentioned that we cannot depend on immunization only, on vaccination only. The traditional measure, like as mentioned Dr. Bernie, that 3M and other measure is also should be integrated to control this dengue. Thank you, Dr. Restuti. And then, is there anybody want to ask a question again? Please raise your hand. We have, I think we have 6 minutes left. Yeah, 6 minutes. Maybe my question, maybe the last question to Dr. Benny. What is the difference, the other aspect you have already mentioned between this platform and the previous platform of dengue vaccine in Indonesia? Please, Dr. Benny.
Okay, thank you, Professor Pinky. So the previous vaccine that's already available in our country is the backbone is yellow fever, but this one, the backbone is dengue serotype 2. So we hope that this could also strengthen the vaccine, yeah, because the backbone is the dengue serotype 2. And then also in our country, the previous vaccines available is recommended only from 9 years old until 16 years old. So we hope that this new upcoming dengue vaccine could reach a broader range of age. So from 6 to 45 years, because they have already the clinical trials and also the results are also promising. And I think that's what we need to know, yeah. And we hope that the next step is important one, that from the clinical trial, it shows that the new upcoming new dengue vaccines, they don't need the screening first. Before in the previous one, we suggested the health professional to do the screening whether they have already had the history of getting dengue or not, or at least we can get the antibody IgG result first. But this new upcoming dengue vaccine, it shows that we don't have to do the screening because the negative, and also the seropositive subjects that are enrolled in the clinical trials, they show almost similar efficacy when they got the dengue vaccine.
Thank you, Dr. Bernie.
You would add because you know better.
I think it's already clear. We have still 3 minutes. I saw Professor Amin want to raise a question. Please, Prof. Amin.
Thank you very much, Professor Hinggi and Dr. Benny, for your very informative presentation. I have a question. How long the protection or the level of antibody lasts in terms of age? Yeah, I mean in younger children, in young adult, and also in adult, and also in case of to those 4 types of dengue. Yeah, I mean after vaccination, whether it could be protected until 1 year or second year, or yeah, because we need to consider also when we need to give booster. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Professor Min.
Prof. Amin. I think it's already mentioned in your slide. Dr. Bernie, please answer the question.
Yeah, we have the data from primary report in 12 months and then 18 months and then 36 months and also 54 months. So far until 54 months. And it shows that the vaccine efficacy is quite good. For the primary response, it's almost 80%. And then in some, like in 18 months and also in 36 and also 54 months, it's quite good also. But we don't know yet whether we need to give another booster so far. Professor Pinky probably should add.
This is data from Indonesia.
Oh, okay. So this is a new vaccine, and then they have already done the clinical trials, but unfortunately, Indonesia is not participating in this clinical trial.
Yeah, because probably there is also factors related to race or genetic. Yeah. So the immune response probably different from say Mongolian or Malay or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Dr. Bernie. There's still one question from Pak Joko Pamungkas from Bogor. Previously, efforts to develop vaccine for dengue from Indonesian isolate have been initiated and conducted by many parties in Indonesia, government and non-government. Is there still ongoing, Dr. Bernie?
For dengue, so far, probably Prof. Pinky could answer these questions because so far that I know that we did the CYD, Prof, yeah? Research.
No, it's from Indonesian isolate viral from Indonesian isolate. Maybe Prof. Amin can give us. Prof. Amin, is there any progress regarding Indonesian isolate dengue vaccine from our faculty?
Should be answered by Pak Tejo actually. Yeah, before we in the progress of developing dengue vaccine, but since last year we have to postpone the activities. Now move to Cibinong, Brin. So we don't know yet whether the project will be continued or not. Hopefully, we will get funding for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Amin. Thank you, Dr. Bernie. Thank you for all participants. I think I have to end this session. Many new information regarding one aspect of prevention of dengue. And I hope it's very clear that the vaccine is safe and also a good efficacy. Effectiveness also show for 45 months in all over the world, two parts of the world, and I hope it can also accepted by the people, by the doctor, by the healthcare worker in Indonesia, and give dengue situation more control in Indonesia. Thank you so much, and I close the session. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I give it to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Dr. Bernie.
Thank you to our speaker, our moderator, for the inspiring and eye-opening discussion. I am certain we all learned a lot and gained valuable knowledge to equip us for the future. We now enter our first break of the day, and kindly remember you to join us back at 1 p.m. We will be joining more distinguished speakers, and without doubt, it is something cool that you will not want to miss it. Enjoy your break and see you soon.
semua dia kalau namanya. Kuningan madya raya. Kuningan madya raya. Kok mati? Nanti ngisiin ini sebentar ya Pak. Apa namanya untuk ikut.
Aku senang akhirnya bisa bilang goodbye sama kamu. Karena waktu sama kamu, aku ngerasain sakit banget. Selama pandemi, aku belajar dan bermain di rumah aja. Tapi ternyata nyamuk ada di mana-mana. Walaupun rumah aku bersih, aku tetap kena gigitan nyamuk itu. Badanku panas tinggi dan terasa nyeri. Kepalaku juga pusing sekali. Ibuku bilang, kata dokter, aku kena DBD. Tapi aku bersyukur karena ayah dan ibuku selalu ada buat aku di saat aku sakit. Mereka gak ragu bawa aku ke dokter. Selama sakit, aku banyak ketinggalan pelajaran. Sedih banget karena gak bisa main sama adik. Tapi sekarang aku udah sembuh. Senang rasanya bisa main dan sekolah lagi.
Saya senang deh anak saya sudah sembuh. Saya berharap hal seperti ini tidak terjadi lagi. Segera diskusikan dengan dokter untuk langkah pencegahan DBD dengan vaksinasi. Karena keluarga sehat is my dream.
Sebagai seorang ayah, kesehatan keluarga merupakan prioritas penting. Dan tetap lakukan 3M+.
Yuk vaksin DBD, segera diskusikan dengan dokter untuk melengkapi perlindungan keluarga.
Oh, si Sarah lupa tuh anduk dia itu enggak. Lupa. Ya, nah. Tang, teleponin Sarah, Tang. Saya soalnya lagi bikin ini. Teleponin Sarah, bilangin anduk. Hah? Oh, nggak. Ini soalnya saya lagi ini. Biar nggak hilang. Lagi from. Ya, nggak. Tadi.
Apa ya? Pas yang bersih.
Saya nggak goyang. Kamu kali kurang tidurnya goyang. Apa tadinya? Lupa deh. Zoom-nya di mana? Astagfirullah, hilang deh. Astagfirullah. Hidayah ya. Nah ini. Ya, hilang kali tadi. Hilang. Enggak ada. Belum deh. Hah? Enggak, tadi suruh itu ada yang mesti diisi dia intinya.
Of One Health and vector-borne diseases. And then also we have been reminded collaborative works involving various aspects and multi-stakeholders is crucial in implementing the One Health approach. We also learn about dengue globally and in Indonesia, from the challenges in diagnosis and management, understanding new diagnostic tools, and also the upcoming new dengue vaccine, and also understanding the factors itself. And just now in our last sessions, as a country who is still facing malaria, so we were reminded on the factors and how to overcome also possibilities of vaccination for malaria.
We also learned some bacterial and parasitic vector-borne diseases, such as rickettsia, filarial nematodes, filariasis, and also animal trypanosomes. So much we have learned today. But tomorrow, we still have a lot interesting topics related to dengue and Japanese encephalitis. So we thank all participants, all speakers, all moderators today for very fruitful webinar and discussions. We are welcoming you all again, joining tomorrow morning. Our tomorrow agenda will start around 8 o'clock, so we will welcome you around 7:30 Indonesian time. So I think that's all that we have learned, and we will learn more tomorrow. So thank you again. See you tomorrow. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam
wabarakatuh.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Benny, pediatric specialist and consultant, as well as all our esteemed speakers. Before we end the symposium session today, I would like to invite all speakers and all participants to open the camera for our photo session together.
Apa yang menjelaskan saya sih udah melaporkan kan kemarin acaranya laporan aku apa.
Okay, we start to take the photo. In 3, 2, 1, and in the first slide. Okay. For the second slide. Okay, and for the last slide. Okay, we finally has come to an end of the first day of the first Indonesian Friends International Scientific Meeting, One Health Approach and Vector-Borne Diseases 2022. Thank you for your participation. Don't forget to join us for the final day tomorrow at 8 a.m. My name is Katrunada as your Master of Ceremony today. I thank you and see you all soon. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
everyone for
everyone.
joining.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Dr. Mark Deng.
Thank you all.